final presenter, maybe one more after that, is Nicolas Cerne. I hope I butchered the name. And he will be presenting, actually, I don't know what he's going to present. ADAO, okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and can see your screen also.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, well, hello. My name is Nicholas, and I'm here as a member of ADAO to present to you our Fund7 proposal and to show you what we will deliver. A lot of you are probably asking themselves, what is ADAO? Yeah, well, ADAO is a decentralized autonomous organization operating on the Cardano blockchain. And by embodying the mantra of decentralization together, we hope to kindle imaginations and provide the framework and other resources upon which other communities can thrive, all united by a common goal, decentralization. Our core team behind the proposal consists of 7 members with various backgrounds and skills. But the thing is, with being a DAO, it means that every member of the DAO can contribute and is part of our project. So this is just what we have on Idea Scale, and there are right now over 400 members in our Discord server, and they're all, of course, not everyone is participating, but a lot of them. Yeah, when we started out, we identified 3 key challenges that we want to address and that we want to solve. Number 1 would be governance. Well, in essence, how DAOs can be governed and what rules apply to them. Like, for example, specify the number of tokens that you want to issue in the beginning and how they are allocated. This can become very crucial, especially when it comes to voting, that you make sure about majorities and yeah. And another challenge that we want to address is a treasury. Well, a treasury is key as it holds all the assets held by a DAO. The treasury needs to be controlled by the token holders and has to be able to receive and release assets upon an agreed procedure. And then, of course, the next challenge is voting. Well, DAOs, as any organization, they need to make decisions and they need to decide on their policy, and that is done by voting. And we have to implement a way on how to vote, actually. And the solution to all of that, well, of course, our proposal, creating Cardano DAO infrastructure. And now I'm actually handing over to my colleague Riley, who will show you what we're currently building and our currently planned timeline.
Yeah, so we definitely don't have any live demos today, but what I can tell you is some of the work that we've done so far, and then some of the work that we're moving towards right now. We do have a contract on mainnet with an NFT that represents the DAO's identity. And that's also used to access the treasury. We have tested the treasury and we've staked the treasury as well. So we've done a lot on just the experimental side. And then we're actively working on a more in-depth contract, and the on-chain code should be done, but it's not tested. And there is a version of that on testnet. But basically what that allows for individuals to do is to create proposals, which can then be voted upon by individual members of the DAO using their governance tokens. And then those proposals, once valid, can be used to interact with the DAO's identity NFT to either create new governance tokens, spend from the DAO's treasury, or send the DAO's identity NFT to a new script address. So that's kind of the core fundamentals of the contract that we're using right now for our DAO, or that we're going to be using as soon as we move over to it. The contract that's actually on mainnet is more simple than that. It just requires that a certain number of the governance tokens that have been issued are present within the transaction that spends the DAO's identity NFT, which also, like I said, allows for us to have a treasury at this point, even with that very simple contract. We're kind of ahead of schedule for this roadmap. We were looking at this roadmap during our discussions over the past few weeks, but we continue to work hard on this, making sure that it's going to get done regardless of whether or not we receive funding. It's very much a thing that we're passionate about, and we're going to keep going. If you want to go to the next slide. So I basically we have already, like I said, the code that runs on chain, and that should work. We've done a little bit of trace testing with it, and I mean, it seems to work, but it's definitely not the level of assurance that I would want if I was going to be putting a lot of money behind it. So I'm not quite confident in saying that the on-chain code is done, but we're right now working on integration methods with Nami Wallet. We do have a very simple PAB running with the stuff that they've supplied, IOHK has supplied on the Plutus starter template on GitHub. They've got an example PAB there, and we've leveraged that to create something that seems to work for the most part, but there's still some finicky issues with that. And so one of the things that we're doing now is kind of taking a step back from some of the off-chain Plutus code and the PAB and looking at just hopping forward and doing integration using the Cardano serialization lib created by Emergo to do transaction creation and signing using Nami Wallet on a front end very, very soon. So that's something that, I mean, we're, like I said, a little bit ahead of schedule, but we're gonna have to wrap back around and review some of the off-chain Plutus work and add to that as we start to see things more and more standardized in the Cardano ecosystem. Do you want to go to the next slide?
1 minute.
Perfect, thank you. We've got some information here if you want to figure out ways to reach us and network with us. If you go to the Twitter page, our Discord's linked there, so you can definitely find us. And our GitHub also has essential links to find us in other places as well. So feel free to reach out at any point and get in touch with us if you want to ask more questions after this presentation. And obviously there's time allocated for you to ask questions right about now, I think, if you want to go to the next slide.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna be honest, DAOs are pretty hard. Since I joined Project Catalyst, I think we have tried to start 4 of them, and all of them successfully failed. So not maybe the best start, but I think we are learning from mistakes from others, and like once you get into the ecosystem and collaborate with others, what they have been doing, you probably have already heard the feedback or insights of what have they tested and what worked. And I like the fact that we never got to the fact that creating like a token for everybody. And now we are seeing treasuries, which is quite cool. How are you going to use treasuries in ADAO?
Yeah, so and if someone else wants to speak to that, they're definitely welcome to. But my answer is that we're basically looking to build out more and more stuff in the Cardano ecosystem, whether that's DAOs or just protocols that can be leveraged by the community. And so in order to do that, we need people that can obviously work on that, and they need to be incentivized to do so. So we're looking at creating a bounty contract in the near to medium term, which can be instantiated by the DAO using a proposal to spend from the treasury. So that money goes to the bounty, which is then used to verify that people are actually doing work using the system of governance that we have in place, right? So people are using their governance tokens to basically say whether or not someone is actually fulfilling the bounty, and then that person fulfilling the bounty gets the payout. So a good example of this would be, say that there's a proposal created to instantiate the bounty contract with 5,000 data, and the bounty set forth is that someone needs to create a protocol that basically does the same thing as the OHM or Olympus DAO protocol does, but using Plutus and doing that using the extended UTXO model, right? Like if that was something that we were to instantiate as a bounty, then later that person would come in and say, hey, I have this working, whether it's a proof of concept or a production model that's deployed on mainnet, and then they get the payout for the bounty.
Do you have any kind of like limits what can go as a ballot to ask for bounty, or like who grades them? Does everybody has access to like, okay, I need to make a proposal and it will take me like 6 hours and I ask $600 for that, or there is like some technical GitHub related stuff?
Yeah, so it's done on chain using the contract to spend from the treasury, right? And so the idea is that you would create a proposal, and anybody can create a proposal. It's permissionless. You don't need to have any governance tokens to create a proposal, but a proposal does need to have a certain amount of the total governance tokens that have been issued to interact with it in order for it to be valid. It also has to have a high enough ratio of yes to no votes in order to be valid. And it also needs to have existed for a long enough period of time. There's basically a 5-day, and that may change, right? So it's X amount of days where the voting takes place. And after that, the proposal is either valid or invalid. And if it's valid, it can be used to spend with the DAO's identity NFT. And so those proposals, it would specify the fact that it's spending from the treasury as a Boolean, because a proposal can only do one of 3 things at a time. And it would also specify the amount and the validator hash of the contract that's being spent to, right? So at the moment, the contract that's going to be used, the intent is that it's only going to be able to spend treasury money to contracts, which then obviously could have any arbitrary criteria for being able to be spent from.
Okay. For everybody else, raise your hand, jump in. And meanwhile, I direct a question to Nicholas, and wondering why you think it was a good idea, or why to start with DAO instead of like, hey, let's get the team together and let's build something together before we decentralize and trying to make it as a DAO. What sparked you the idea? Okay, we need DAO.
We can't hear you, Nicholas.
I think you're muted.
Something. Meanwhile, maybe Riley can answer that, and Nicholas can check his settings.
And TCT could probably unmute too if you wanted to answer. TCT is kind of the person that I think of as the quote unquote founder, right? I've definitely been the person who's been, I think, pushing the most for ADAO specific technical work. But TCT, or Tom, he's in here. He basically, we were in a Twitter Spaces and he had invited me to the Discord channel, and the reason that I wanted to get on chain and decentralized in an official manner as soon as possible was just because I wanted to push for it and see what we could do. I also wanted to be on chain as early as possible to have that sort of provenance, right? Like, I can point you to a transaction that took place on November 13th of 2021 where we created a DAO, and that's, I think, pretty cool to me. So even though the contract that we have on mainnet right now is super simple and it's very limited in the scope that it can have, like, we only have 16 tokens, right? And the reason we only have 16 tokens is because the way that this is formulated right now, like, it wouldn't scale. You have to have all the people interact with the same transaction. And so basically just getting on chain early with the people that were involved early was kind of the goal there. And then we're looking to obviously have a lot more people in the DAO officially very soon, because we want to test this new contract and get it completely validated prior to minting more tokens and getting more people officially involved.
Yeah, and can you guys hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, my big thing was, you know, making this a place where other groups and other teams felt comfortable contributing. You know, if we're gonna build something that the whole community can and wants to use, it has to be built by the community. And so really just making a place where, like I said, other teams, other protocols, other DAOs feel comfortable enough to come and collaborate and contribute with us. And that's what we've been seeing, which is really great. Most of the groups we've reached out to from Catalyst and just in the Cardano ecosystem in general haven't hesitated to jump in, help us do the research, and just add to the discussion, which is great.
Thank you for that. And Nicholas, are you back? No. God damn it.
At least it didn't have any issues during the actual presentation, right?
Yep. Nope. That was clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, now it's
Yeah.
via my webcam. I'm sorry, my headset is always messing up. Yeah, so in regards to your question, why DAO first approach? I think that's what the question, right? So yeah, we just wanted to get something as quickly as possible on chain that we can actually prove that it's possible to do it. And I think that was the main idea behind why we did it the way we did it. And of course, now we are also faced with many challenges, especially when it comes to project management, organizing things, and just pulling everything together is really hard. And we definitely are still searching, for the right approach to many things, especially with working groups. But yeah, it's a constant effort, and I think using everyone's resources, everyone's experience. That's how we're gonna manage to do it in the end. And a huge thank you to Riley. I mean, he's our code genius. And yeah, without him, I think that would not be possible.
Well, thank you for the presentation. And I think with the room 7 is now concluded. These videos will be, I don't know, I will put them in the drive. I let the organizers to figure it out where to put it next. To this time, I'm just a host. So thank you for joining again. Let's head to the main room. Let's see what others figured out. And I definitely suggest for the DAOs to check other DAOs out, because I think there is a lot of overlap. There could be like one member in so many different DAOs and contribute one thing and get value for like different DAOs, because there is that's what I see in this kind of emerging technology.
For sure, and I want to get to you as well and learn what you did with your 4 DAOs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Timo.
Thanks everybody for your time.
Yeah, thank you.